Oh, hi there. Welcome to Shogi in the West, an English language podcast for active shogi players and shogi learners around the world. In this podcast, we focus on the topics and the people that matter to those of us outside Japan trying to find our way in this game. And for this week's guest, it is my honor to introduce Stephen. Stephen is an international chess grandmaster and educator. He was the 2010 World Under-18 Chess Champion. He tied for the 2019 U.S. Masters Chess Championship. And he holds countless other incredible achievements in that game. Stephen has recently turned to shogi and has made a meteoric rise, quickly becoming one of the best amateur players in the world outside of Japan, and recently winning the 2025 Shogi Harbor Tournament to King event. Closer to my heart, though, Stephen has been a member of the Silicon Valley and San Francisco shogi clubs, where he has repeatedly and mercilessly dismantled my Urashino Ryu with a combination of fifth-rank rook and gangi. Stephen, welcome to the podcast, and have you played any shogi today?
Glad to be here, Frank. Thank you for having me. And yes, I have. I had my World Shogi League game today. It was a very exciting bishop exchange, actually, that very quickly just turned into a massive battle right in the opening. My opponent started with a tactic.
Awesome. Yeah, spoiler or not spoiler alert, but I cheated a bit. I knew that you had played, but I didn't want to spoil it by looking to see the result. I sort of I didn't want to go in. So how did it go?
It went well. Yeah, the opening was very hard to judge because, again, we got a very unusual position very quickly. I had two silvers and a vanguard pawn far up the board, but my king was also loose. After that, though, the middle game I was very happy with. My opponent played a bit too defensively, a bit focused on the wrong things, and I managed to get a very strong initiative, and basically my threats landed first.
Oh, nice. I have not actually seen him play before. Had you played him before? It's a Harbor member.
It is, and I know it's played Tourney to Masters. Don't believe we played in the same tournament, but we didn't actually play in the tournament, as I recall.
Okay. Yeah, and for people who don't know, Stephen has been the board one for one of the American teams, and I think you are undefeated this year so far.
In World Shogi League, yes.
Okay. Yeah, there was the big one last month that I was excited for, where the one, I think this is the 1 month you didn't play. It was Denmark against Grandmaster Peter Heine, Magnus Carlsen's coach, Vishy Anand's past coach. Have you played him, or like, do you know him in any way?
I mean, not personally. We just being in the U.S., I haven't played as much European chess as all the European players. I was excited to see play shogi. It's just unlucky. It was the month where I was moving to a new state, starting a new job. But hopefully, I get the chance to play him soon.
Yeah.
I imagine we'll both be playing next year.
What has been the WSL experience? Has it, like, I guess stepping back, why did you start playing WSL, and how has it met your expectations?
It's been good. I got invited by, I don't actually know what to call him, TZ.
Okay.
And it's, just heard about it. It sounds like fun. I mean, I absolutely love these games, chess, shogi, all these serious strategy games. Like, the one downside of them, I would say, is like being 1v1. There's not that team camaraderie you get in a lot of sports or other things. And so it is fun just having a team, contributing to your team results.
Yeah.
I like that aspect of it.
Awesome. Yeah, totally. It's something that I definitely feel that I miss, but at the tournament, like the United States Championship, there was a team event, and so that's like my limited experience of playing in team events, and they are very fun. Definitely fun. So walking back a bit, you say you like these games, but what made you start playing shogi?
So the way it started actually was, I would just say by the merest luck. I was just looking on Meetup, just seeing what kind of clubs, new things to do were. Like, I also found a great board game club in Mountain View. But yeah, there was just a public meetup for Silicon Valley Shogi. I'd learned the rules at one point because a friend of mine who also plays chess also played shogi, and we just tried a game. I mean, we were both complete beginners.
Okay.
So I was curious about it. I went to the meetup, had a great time, and yeah, it all very quickly went up from there.
Wow, that's I'm stuttering here. I'm kind of speechless. I didn't realize that that's how it happened, and or maybe somehow I didn't hear, or maybe I did. I don't know, but wow, that's really surprising. Um, it's fascinating to me that someone who has achieved, I think I might have mentioned this to you before, but it's fascinating to me that someone who has achieved, the very highest level in a game would go and play other games. So it's fascinating to me. It's something that you just do. It's something you just really enjoy, is playing different games.
Yes, very much so. I shouldn't say every. I mean, it has a different flavor, but obviously a lot of overlap with chess. And I mean, I really like the different aspects. Again, I like playing another game. That's very much a board game lover, strategy
Okay.
game lover, card games as well. And
Has that been since you were a kid?
yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, when I learned chess, it hooked me instantly, and yeah, same. It's been all that from there, basically.
It hooked you instantly, like that. 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, or
I think six.
okay. How did you start? I'm curious. I know that this is shogi, but it's not every day that I get to speak to a grandmaster. So
Yeah, I mean, I think learned the rules. My parents taught me, and again, loved it. I don't remember exactly. I was very much a kid at the time, but I got a coach pretty quickly. I liked reading chess books even as a kid. Read them again and again, just devoured them nonstop. And I've devoured, I think, most of the very limited supply of shogi books
yeah,
in English at this point.
yeah.
Yeah, just played more and more, started playing tournaments pretty soon. I mean, Tal, in his book, the world chess champion in 1960, said, like, he discovered at a young age that he was someone who wasn't immune to the chess bug, is how he put it. Like, he got bit,
Yeah.
got infected by the chess bug, and that's how I would describe myself, too.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. So are you, when you approach a game like shogi or Go, I know that you've played Go in the past as well. When you approach these games, do you try to approach them in the same way you did, or do you consciously try to approach them in the same way that you did with chess, or are you taking sort of experience from your growth in chess and condensing that? Like how do you decide
Absolutely.
your plans is essentially kind of what I'm asking.
As far as within a game itself, or in a broader improvement sense?
In the game itself. So like that you're going to be playing shogi. Now, when I tried to get better, I know what I did, which is basically try to play and then do mate problems. But like, do you have, more experience? Apologies if there's noise. There's a very loud motorcycle out there. But you, are you trying to basically repeat the same progression that you had with chess?
I wouldn't say it's that consciously arranged. I mean, I love playing, so I play a lot of games.
Yeah.
Again, love the study a lot. I will say there are certain things I think are very good to do. Like, for example, we just try to find ideas at the board and just try to justify them. Like, don't just copy patterns, because
Yeah.
then, I mean, if you really do your best to look for something, and this is in any game, right? You find it, you try hard to justify or refute it, right? You don't just throw out every random idea. And then, right, you learn something. Like, you learn what works, you learn new ideas about what's good and what isn't, and you just get, I think, a much broader scope. And you also test your skills to the limit. So you're forcing yourself to become a better calculator, have a better understanding. If you essentially just kind of play by rote, like play the exact same thing, there's not really any development in doing that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's definitely something that I try to avoid, because I do play the same basic opening, as you know. And I feel like in every game I'm finding new things and I'm trying to take away something from those games. But it is very easy to get into that, especially for me personally, if I start just playing like 3-minute games or something like that. it'll very much be rote, and it'll be playing by rote, and then something will happen, and then something else will happen, and either I'll win or I'll lose, but I don't know if I take much from it.
Gotcha. I would say with 3 minute in particular, and this is true in chess too, that's somewhat inevitable because I mean, in 3 minutes, if you really work hard to try and find a clever idea, you're going to have the most brilliant losses on time of anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that I think with 3 minute, it's more like you play with your intuition, and then if you really want to improve off those games, I think that's when you review. Like when you have more time, you can see where your intuition was bad, which is a very useful thing to do. But I do agree, just like playing the same ideas in the same 3 minute game over and over. I mean, it's fun. Plenty of people just do that as a hobby, but you're not going to, I think, improve naturally, unless I mean you're a beginner, a new player to the game, and then your mistakes will be very obvious.
Yeah. When you said that you want to play a lot of games, I know that you play on 81 Dojo. Is that the focus? Besides over the board games, is that the focus of where you play, or are you also playing Blitz and Bullet on Shogi Wars or Shogi Quest?
Yeah, Shogi Wars in particular, I've played a fair few like 10 second 0-10 Byoyomi games.
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah,
nice.
Those are nice too. And those, especially when you're busy, right? Those are a lot easier. I imagine 3 minute is in a very similar vein, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been playing more. I've always been a fan of 0-10, but I've been playing it more lately just because I've been a little disenfranchised, or not disenfranchised, disenchanted with 10-minute games. So 10 second has been pretty fantastic as long as I slow down, I think about my moves. I think for me, I can kind of maintain a good enough quality such that the games can be something I can learn from. At least that's what I tell myself. I don't know. But interesting to hear that you do that, because I know that there are some other strong players that when they play on Shogi Wars, they play 10-second games. So it's always interesting to me to hear how the good players seem to figure this stuff out. But the rest of us are just kind of like throwing stuff around, doing whatever.
You mean in terms of like what to do for?
In terms of what to do, or like sort of immediately assessing or quickly assessing the value of 10-second versus the value of some of the other time controls. Yeah.
Gotcha. I mean, that is something I've taken from chess, where if you play without increment or without Byoyomi in Shogi's case,
Yeah.
it creates a whole lot of bad incentives as far as how to play, like ways that will win the game that are not actually good gameplay.
Yeah.
Like in chess, right, there's all kinds of flagging strategies. Like if you get a better position, but you're down 10 seconds, you might just be doomed on the clock. I mean, if you have even a small increment or a small Byoyomi, then you don't have to worry about that.
Do you play a lot of Blitz or Bullet chess? Like it feels like you're of that generation where you would be playing a lot of online chess as well.
I've played quite a bit, yes. I haven't played Bullet in a long time. I played a fair bit of Bullet for several years, but a lot of Blitz. So quite a bit of 3-0. I do that because 3-2 is almost impossible to find. Which is, I mean, that would be with increment.
Yeah,
and I play that with friends, arranged games, but online 3-0 is, I would say, like 50 times more popular.
Yeah, it seems to be. It definitely seems to be. But Titled Tuesday is 3+1?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that the only time you play that time control?
Yeah, that's the only time I've ever seen 3-1.
Okay.
And 3-2 is my favorite. It used to be 3-2. In the case of Titled Tuesday, I think the problem is with the 2-second increment, there's always that 1 or 2 games that go very, very long in terms of moves. Yeah. So I can understand why they had to shorten the increment.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have you thought about, like, have you ever thought, oh, I wish Shogi would have something like this? Or, I know I have, but do we think we have the software?
Say that again?
Do you think we have the software, or have you ever maybe just internally expressed some sort of desire that we in the Shogi world would have a Titled Tuesday? Obviously I wouldn't get to play in it, but I think you're at that level where there'd be some sort of mix.
Yeah, I would love to have a tournament like that.
Yeah.
If it's around and I have the time, like if it's on a weekend, I'll play it.
Do you pay much attention to the pro game?
Um, I haven't recently. I have in the past. Like I have a couple of friends in the shogi world who talk a lot about the pro games, who follow the pros. I know like my friend Michael, who has his own shogi channel that has some great reviews. So I'll watch things like that. I very rarely follow them directly, just because the classical time controls are so slow. It's just a lot of time. But
Yeah.
the reviews and the discussions. I love to see.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Shogi Kingdom is a great channel. I don't think he's been putting out much lately. Hopefully he'll get back to that. But yeah, yeah, really nice. Well, in terms of learning, you've already said that you've gone through the English language books. Um, are you actively still trying to learn now? Like, are you what is your learning motivation? Are you simply going to play because you enjoy it, or are you going to try like going to Japanese books, for example, or some other means of getting stronger?
So that is a big thing I want to do. One part, I am just happy to play because I enjoy it. I do want one thing, actually, maybe I can ask you if you know a way to do this, is to get like good English subtitles on Japanese YouTube videos. Because I found some ways that improve it. I mean, the auto ones are, I don't need to tell you how bad they are.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. I've been on that same quest of trying to find some way, and I haven't heard of a way to do it, especially for videos. For books even, like Rico last week, that has advice on how to make Japanese book reading more, not palatable, but more feasible.
No,
But
I'm curious what he has on top of this. But one thing I will say is LLMs are, at least like Claude, which I've been using, are very, very good in my experience at translating like the PDFs, the Shogi book PDFs I have that I bought.
oh, really?
Yeah,
Did
much,
you
much better than the Google Translate and similar tools.
did you train it on Shogi?
In general, I don't even think you need to, but there is another another user who, how do I say it? Like he basically shared one that was trained on Shogi
Yeah,
terms,
I
like it
dream of
had been
Shogi.
prompted.
Yeah, I dream of
Yeah,
Shogi can.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that I would definitely recommend, like just prompting it with the right terms. I haven't dug enough into it. I've used that he provided.
Yeah. Yeah, I've used it and was very impressed with it, especially compared to some of the others, the just a stock chat GPT I've tried to use before, and it gave me some wrong stuff. But his, the training he did seemed to have made translation really nice. I don't know if that's still. Yeah, I don't know how the monetization of that works. Like, I don't think he has to pay for that, does he? If people use it, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think because ultimately, like, you're the one when you prompt it, right? It already exists. Like it existing, I assume, is very minimal cost in it. But actually running it, right, is where the cost is. So
Okay.
you can
Okay.
either use that on the limited free tier or on a paid
Yeah.
tier.
So the books that you have actually gotten it for some Japanese PDFs. What have you looked for in these PDFs, or have you been given recommendations on good books? How did there's so many. How do you pick?
So the couple I picked up in Japanese were specifically books on I had recommended on openings I was trying to learn. So one on Millennium and one on Murata System.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I've been eyeing the Murata System book, but translation has been the the problem for me to make that step. That's fascinating. So you enjoy studying, you enjoy learning. I think that's a common trait with a bunch of people that I've talked to about shogi. But you're you're going at it. Are you going at it in a similar way to you're mentioning openings, which makes me think sort of a chess approach. Um, is that because you enjoy openings, or is it just because you feel like this is the logical way to approach it?
So I mean, in general, actually, I would say the opening is what I study the least, like especially compared to other chess players, but I would guess compared to shogi players too. It's just that I would say I've got a lot of very good general purpose and endgame books in English. And those are the specific things like that. It's much harder. It's gotten easier because people are publishing more and more things. Like Ishikawa Sensei has some good games in English. But finding really standardized resources on openings, like there's no shogiable, there's no chessable replacement.
Yeah.
So those were the things I guess that it's hardest to find elsewhere. Especially the very recent opening developments, like Murata System and Millennium, which has gotten some updates.
Yeah. I wish for that every day. I don't really play chess, but I'm a Chessable user. I love Chessable. I've got an 1,800 plus day streak on Chessable. I'm trapped in that the gamification stuff.
Gotcha.
I love it. I can't help myself. But the same person we were talking about with that LLM, he created a Chessable like site called Shogi Craft. And,
right.
It hasn't quite picked up that I can tell, but I still am going to hold out hopes for it because I would love to see what we could do there. I would like to put I have my own opening study that I use, which is essentially 4 huge kifus of variations. I would love to be able to put that into Shogi Craft or, Shogiable
Right.
or whatever. And do
Yeah,
it.
I'll have to see what he's updated because early on, because I checked that out, he had some nice stuff on Pawn Tsuji's and Yago Rapid Attack.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. For you've been a chess educator for a while now. Have you considered, now that you're at a quite high level in shogi, have you considered doing that at all, or is there just not enough interest in those kinds of things, or is that something you would even enjoy doing?
I would enjoy it. I mean, to a certain extent, like there are people, people ask me questions sometimes, in the Silicon Valley meetups, and I'm always happy to talk about things. The biggest thing would be, I guess, just a lack of life bandwidth.
Yeah.
Would be a limiting factor.
Especially now, yeah.
But it would be. Yeah, it would be. It is something I enjoy, just talking about shogi. Someone else of basically any level.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely something that I would love to see. I've probably talked too much about this in the past, but I would love to see shogi get to a point in the West where we can have teachers, where we can have, like Koshiro is my canonical example of this, where, I'd love to have people that are teaching shogi and, if not getting an income from it, at least some sort of supplemental income from it, and then from there going into more books and just hopefully snowballing from there. It's a hope. I don't know if we'll ever get there.
It's tough. Trending
coming
in the right
from
direction.
another game, do you have a sense, or what are your thoughts on how shogi has grown in the West? Like, is this sort of what you would expect to see from a niche kind of game, or do you have more hopes for it?
Gotcha. I would certainly like to see more. It is tough, right? Like making something really big. Like obviously chess has just had like hundreds of years of background. Basically every kid that shows an inkling of interest in the West is taught it. And then, shogi, it's tough because Go, not nearly on the same level as chess, but it got picked up by some strong chess players, I want to say 100 years ago at this point. And it's kind of spread through. It's tougher in shogi because there's not nearly as much promotion, like from Japan itself. And then I guess it's more similar to chess than Go is. So maybe it's just tough to get people to play both games, even though, I think the differences are fascinating. I love the different aspects of both, even though there's so much in common.
Yeah. Did you play, as a chess player, I imagine you have, but like, have you played the shogi-like variants, like the Bug House, Crazy House?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not as much. Some people, there are actually some very serious tournaments for those, which is cool to see. It's cool to see that works, considering the chess pieces weren't designed for that.
Yeah.
They're fun.
How do they do it? I always wondered about that. Not to derail, but how do they do that in a physical, like in a non-virtual tournament?
So Bug House isn't too hard. You need 2 boards, but with 2 boards,
yeah.
you can do it. Crazy House, I haven't really played it in person. I've only actually played it online myself. If you had a second board, you could do it, but I've never actually seen that done. So that is a lot more difficult.
Okay. Yeah, Crazy House is the one that is like it's the 2-player game.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and the problem, right, in chess, when you take your opponent's piece, it's
Yeah.
it doesn't become, it's still the same color as when you captured it.
Yeah. Maybe you have a bank of pieces that you just reach from or you exchange. Yeah, it'd be fun. Well, this year you played, well, how long have you been playing Shogi at this point?
So that first visit to the club was June 2024.
It was 2024. Okay. Because I was in my mind this morning, I was trying to think, has it been 2 years or has it? No, it hasn't been 2 years. I think it's been 1 year. Okay, so it's been a little over, not even a year and a half, and wow, yeah. So huge growth there. And you played in the 2025 U.S. Shogi Championship. Can you talk about what your experience was like there, and if it was anything of what you expected coming from so many chess tournaments?
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. First, the Shogi community, right, is pretty tight knit, and so getting to finally meet a lot of people who I kind of knew from online Shogi.
Yeah.
Getting to meet them in person was a lot of fun. Yeah, as far as differences, one funny thing is, I guess, how much more relaxed it was in 2 ways. So the first thing, right, is there's just not really no concerns about cheating at all. For instance, like the top board, they had a stream for it with a computer eval, and they just basically had a blocker between the board and the display. And yeah, everyone was comfortable with that, which was really nice. It's nice to just not have to
the eval. Mm-hmm. Wait, what do you? Wait,
they were projecting the game with the eval. Visible, basically elsewhere in the same room. It was blocked. There was off with, but yeah, it was right there, and I cannot imagine in a million years a chess tournament like just being that comfortable.
Yeah, and even if it's like you could hear slightly some rumbling from the from the people. Like, I know that some chess players have said, like, in a serious tournament, you can't even have like the reactions of people of audience, because that gives so much information. And as someone who consumes a lot of chess, I consume a lot of chess content, and I watch a lot of tournaments just because I love it. I love watching it. It's always surprising in these events where it's like they can hear us. They can hear the rumbling, and it's like, no, it's okay. Like, okay, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So that's one thing. What else?
So the other thing, again, kind of the same tone of how relaxed it was. Like, I remember I asked one of the tournament organizers, basically, like, is there a room for analysis where we can analyze post game? And he was confused. He just did not understand the question.
Yeah.
Because everyone just analyzed right at the board, like in the same room while the other games were going on.
Yeah.
He just was confused why you would need or want another room.
It was so funny. I think it was one of your games. So I was watching a lot of your games at that event, and the way the table was set, there were 2 boards. There were 2 boards kind of per physical table. You and your opponent were on like the left side of the table, and I want to say it was Michael, but there was another game to the right, and they are in, like, I'm kind of watching both. Your game ended, and these guys are in like the fight of their life over here. Their clock, their Byoyomi is counting down. They're as intense as it gets, and all of a sudden people start coming around to this other game that that just finished, and they're talking and kind of like not laughing, but kind of like, jovially chatting about this game. And it's different to me. It's, even though I don't have that chess experience, it just feels, odd. But it works somehow. I don't really know how that is. Yeah, it's a real pleasant experience. It's fun. It's casual, but it's very serious.
Yeah, I mean, everyone still really wants to play well, right?
Yeah, it's the most important tournament we have in the United States. And some years it dictates the person who's going to go to qualify for the ISF tournament, so it has extra. The kids, the it seems like this might be a big difference between the chess tournaments, that we had kids but far fewer. Is that
That is true.
okay? Yeah.
Well,
Is that something that like is that something that would change the feel for chess versus shogi events as well? Or yeah.
if you had like more underrated kids
Yeah.
helping everyone,
Yeah.
it would. I mean, I don't know. It's always fun playing against them because they also play very ambitiously. Like, even if they're lower rated, like they really test you. I think. I mean, I always want more players. Either, again, more of those kids. Like there were a couple very strong kids at the tournament. I mean, Kotaro got second.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. It's it's funny to me because I listen to chess podcasts, and so it's to hear your sort of, I don't want to say measured response, but you're like, oh, you like playing with the kids. They have the underrated kids. They have these other play. They try hard. But like, I listen to some of these chess podcasts from like 1700 or 1800 level player, and they're like, these kids, they're coming in, they're stealing all my points. I used to be 1750, and now I'm 1690, and I can't get up there. But like it seems sometimes like ratings are the things that people care about more as they get lower. But like as people get stronger, sometimes I don't know. It's
I will say that is a problem. Like that is a problem at the higher levels in chess too. Like you play some underrated juniors from like India or Kazakhstan or Uzbekistan who just haven't played many tournaments yet and are probably like 150 rating points too low.
yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, especially like short term in the context of one tournament, that's something those are the players everyone hopes to avoid.
Yeah.
Those events.
Oh man. But we don't have any ratings in the US. Is that do you think that's a good thing? Do you think that's it'd be desirable to have more? I mean, ignoring the fact that we have so few, like the sample size would be small. Is that something that you think would improve or detract from these events?
I would say it's a pretty small factor. I mean, I think maybe it makes things a little better just as far as setting pairings,
Yeah.
things like that. But yeah, I would say it's less important than a lot of other things like the right promotion and so on, or just
Okay.
having the events,
Yeah.
even if you don't have ratings.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't I kind of found it nice. I like ratings, don't get me wrong. But it was nice that the event was sort of, it had that casual feel to it where we're just kind of celebrating shogi more. So the one that I played in which was 2024 was a lot like that. But then again, I hear some people from Europe, they're like, well, if the tournament's not rated, I'm not even going to go, because they have so many tournaments, I guess, that they've built. Yeah. Yeah,
That sounds like a good problem to have.
yeah, it does. It really does. I'm jealous. I am jealous. What do you think it would take? Like, you did not play at ESC, correct? The European?
Correct.
Okay. What do you think it would take, at least in the US, to get to a point where we could have more regular tournaments and potentially ratings. Is there anything that you've noticed that you think might do it? It's such a tough problem.
It is. I mean, I would say, the default solution is always just to have more players, right? To the point that you could even just have a tournament in San Francisco where you just have, even if just the people from the Bay Area participate, right? Then you still have a only big tournament. I'm curious, in Europe, is the reason they can have more tournaments just that even if nobody travels that far to go to a random weekend tournament, you still have enough players?
That's the way it seems to be to me. It seems like they just have a lot more people that it's. I don't know if this is true, but like I think a couple people at least have told me that chess is so big in Europe relative to the United States. I don't know if this is true. I mean, you would be someone to ask, but it sounds like everyone plays or knows of chess, and they're willing to get into shogi, so they have these numbers. And it is easier to travel. It's not as wide. The travel is not as big a deal as it is in the U.S. But like, just a 3 weeks ago in France, there was a tournament with, I want to say 45 players in it.
Gotcha.
And it's just from Germany, from the UK, basically all around Europe, and they had like 45, I think maybe even more players. And it wasn't even like the European Championship; it was just a tournament in France. So,
right, and that's that sounds like they just have more players, right? Because you're talking Germany, you're talking UK, which are, I would imagine everyone that's traveling to France is taking a significantly smaller trip than, let's say, like New York to SF.
Yes.
So you just have, they just have the bigger player base. As far as coming from chess, I don't know the statistics, but I would say, chess is very well known, very popular in the US.
Yeah.
Like tons of the strongest juniors are here.
Yes.
And especially now, tons of the strongest players are here. So I wouldn't tend to think that's the problem. I would more wonder, like, what has caused the success in converting people to shogi in Europe versus the US?
Yeah. I'll have to talk to more people from Europe. It's I don't know. I don't know what it is. We got to
the shogi community in the US is, I would say, very overwhelmingly like people who have played it growing up. People either from Japan or family from Japan. And then there's the occasional chess player like me that got converted to it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, how did you discover shogi, actually? I'm sure
I discovered it from you. I assume you know what this is, from Hikaru no Go, the anime. So I was playing Go 18-ish years or so ago, 18, 20 years ago, and came across that. And I think from the character Kaga in that anime, I think that's where I found it. It's possible that I came to shogi from that Sensei's library, that Go resource, of that educational resource. It's possible I found a link and just culturally kind of fell into it, and I learned how the pieces move, but I didn't really do much until the lockdown, and sort of joined the Silicon Valley Shogi Club when it was called the South Bay Shogi Club. And then just one day I asked on the Discord, like, is anyone playing today? Does anyone want to play, over the board today? It was a little after I think it had lifted. And the East Bay Shogi Club leader said, not today, but tomorrow, but we meet on Sunday. And so I started going there, and it's been 3 years, and it's been 3 years of that for me. So that's it. But yeah, there was no. I learned that it was not shogi promotion that did it for me. It was, I just found it from Go, and yeah. No. I guess while we're on the topic of Go, are you still playing at all? Because I know that you played, and I just jealous of results. Do you still play? Do you like it? That kind of stuff.
I haven't played in a while, a couple of years, but I have some books I'll just look back at occasionally. I do really like the game. I will say my very favorites are like the all-out nature of chess and shogi.
Yeah.
Like the goal is the checkmate versus the negotiation. But again, Go is again just an amazing strategy game. Just as far as right simplicity to rules versus complexity of strategy, it definitely. I mean, it is the easy top spot for that, and that part's pretty cool.
Yeah. How long have you played it?
So I learned to play in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, just
So it's been off and on.
yeah, it's been off and on exactly, but it's been several years at least, I think in total,
Okay.
maybe even 3 to 4.
I guess while we're still talking about non-shogi briefly, I like I said, I don't have this opportunity often, so I really want to ask some chess things.
Yeah, by all means.
What can you speak about the experience of? I assume you did it, like the hunt to become a grandmaster. Like you went to get GM norms, like that whole hunt, for lack of better word, for that. What was that like, and what did it feel like to actually accomplish it? Like this is, it's the dream of all these podcasts, that chess podcasts I've listened to. Everyone on there, they're the dream is to be. I mean, their dream sometimes is to be a national master, but like grandmaster is everyone's. It's one of those rare, I would say, goals. Just everyone wants it. It's like so few get it. Everyone wants it. So what was that like?
Oh, I mean, the tournament itself, I mean, I'm thinking of where I got my third norm. Again, that was just, I mean, that was just a great feeling because I had a couple wins where I really had to earn it, just grinding out positions that were not like very winnable on the surface or very simple, like very drawish. It would be the chess term that gets used very often.
Yeah.
And yeah, just pulling those off was, again, very satisfying.
Were you making a concerted effort to get the title, or did it
like
just
I was
happen?
Norm events specifically to get that third norm.
Okay.
And actually, because I got it, there was the second event. I mean, I got the title, and I still had a norm event the week after that.
Oh.
Funny because playing there, but then the whole purpose of it is no longer relevant. But that was still a fun tournament.
Were those in Charlotte?
The second one, the one where I got the title, was in Charlotte.
Okay. That's the little I know of the chess world. Like I know that Charlotte has been a place where people were able to play. In these, there's such quirky set of requirements to get norms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. And then stepping further back, winning that the world champion, the under 18 world championship. What was that even like especially for an American? I don't correct me if I'm wrong. That is not especially not very recently. It was not common for an American to do this.
No, it wasn't.
Okay. So what was that experience like? What is that experience like?
Oh, I mean, that was. Let's see. Let me start with. First of all, it was a big shock because I actually came into the tournament as the 23rd seed. So I was quite a bit. I think almost 200 points below the first seed by rating.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's. Yeah, and it just gradually it became because the tournament just went well, and it just gradually became more and more of a possibility as the rounds kept going on.
Incredible. And as a young person, you're able to. Did you have to struggle to sort of keep yourself grounded in the games, or is that just something that's always been easy for you to have just stay mentally solid in these?
I would say at that point, I mean, it's obviously the biggest stakes, but it's something you've done so many times where you're just zeroing in on the game.
Okay.
That it does, right? You play enough, and this is part of why it's important to play so much. Like you play enough that it becomes a habit, or that you've trained out or identified, any anyways, you might get distracted, right, or get stressed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously it was exciting, right? Obviously, there's a lot going on, but I guess having that base of habits is just so important.
Interesting. And that, I mean, it matters in shogi. I just for me, I don't know if I've ever. I might have mentioned this to you in the past, so apologies if I'm repeating a story. But like at the 2024 event when I played, so I lost in the first round of this in Group A. I lost in first round to a prior ISF champ, one of the favorites of the event. So tiebreak wise, I'm still all right. I won my second round, and in the third round, I was playing Nakabisha at the time, and I got this attack, and it was a very strong attack. I had a significant advantage an advantage that I know how to kind of, convert or, to turn into more advantage. And my opponent was just beside himself, talking to himself, sort of just angry at himself. He was so mad. Like I thought he was going to resign. And so in that time while he's sort of beating himself up, like he spent a lot of time at these moments, my mind is going off into the weeds thinking, oh, I'm going to have 2 wins now. And, now I have 2 wins. I'm 2-1. My next round, I'm going to get a good pairing. If they Nifu or if their clock runs out, I'm going to have 3 wins. And now with the tiebreaker, I might be, I'm in the running for I'm going to be the most undeserving person ever to make this my final. Like my mind is in like crazy town. And this is just, an unrated shogi tournament. I can't even imagine like what it would be in an event like that. So you're saying it's experience.
I mean, experience and then self-reflection is huge. And that's true in basically every aspect of playing well. I mean, I can think of a similar case. Like this is back when I was a kid, maybe 7. And this was just at one of like the kindergarten through 3rd grade nationals.
Okay.
And I was playing a game, like completely winning, chess game up, rook and knight. I was up maybe 3 pawns. And my opponent makes a pretty innocuous looking move. I take a 4th pawn and I get back rank mated.
Oh, man. Oh,
so the
boy.
innocuous move was the knight defending my king's 1 flight square.
Oh, boy. And so, like as a kid, that's like devastating.
Yeah. I mean, I took losses really hard. I still do sometimes.
Ah.
But again, right, you can tell I'm telling you this more than 20 years later.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
It's a lesson you don't forget.
There are definitely things. I mean, I definitely remember the first time I could have won over the board and I missed a mate in 3. Like that to me, I still remember that one. But it's and these mine are in very small stakes. It's funny how the brain works that way. But so is it like how do you get better at that? Is it with help of coaches? Is it just your internal reflection? Is it
I think both of those are. What were you saying?
I was going to say, or is this just an impossible thing to even answer?
I think both of those are true. A good coach can absolutely, identify these things and just give practical advice. Again, reflection is key because you know yourself best of all, or at least you should. Yeah, it's really again just this thing happening because you think of that moment, right? I think of that moment when I got back rank mated and you just tell yourself, right? Like, don't let that happen. Like at the end of the day, if you're going to lose, make sure it's not because of something like that you can easily avoid.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, because I'll have moments, in the show game, like even in today's game, I'll think about, like they might do this and then I'll win. I think this is a blunder they might do, or this is interesting. I think they should have done that. We should talk about that after the game. And again, just push that out and I'll just immediately push that out of my head because again, while the game's going on, right? You focus on winning the game.
Yep. Yeah.
You don't focus like if your opponent botches the game, you don't think about that because then you're set, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's something that I think for me, I'm slow. I'm slow. I wasn't I picked this game and chess to a certain extent up as an adult, so I don't have that if you believe in the neuroplasticity and things like that, I don't have any of that youthful experience of playing, so I'm slow to get this. But I think it's within the past couple months. I'm getting to the point now where, like you say, he could have done. I'm thinking about he could have done this, he could have done that, and I'm able to at least put it out of my mind until later. Whereas before, I'd still be thinking. I'm thinking about the variations that are on the board, but I'm also thinking about the variations that passed that never got on the board, and yeah, I just don't have that mental bandwidth for it. So it would, I think, affect my results.
Right.
So what is next for your shogi? Like, are you able, with the changes that you've the non shogi, like the life changes in movement, are you able to play, and what are your next steps? Like, what's next for your shogi?
Yeah, so I mean, I do very much plan to play. I mean, the 2026 U.S. Shogi Championships right in New York in April. I do very much plan to go there that weekend and play. And I mean, it's a big goal. Like, there's a lot of tough people, but I would like to win it. I got 8th this year, 2-2, and I think small improvement. I absolutely could have won a third game. I was winning a third game, but yeah, that's a big goal. What I mentioned before about learning certain openings and getting more of the Japanese content accessible will help a lot.
Okay.
So that's something I want to do. A lot of it is training the same thing, and this is when I trained for the Tourney to King match. A lot of what I was doing, and again, especially if there's limited time, is just doing very difficult puzzles. Like, and Shogi, this is perfect because you have sume puzzles, which is basically exactly what you need.
Okay. So that's where I was going to take some of this, is talking about tournament preparation as well. So you did sume puzzles for TTK. Do you prepare for individual opponents?
Somewhat. It's for individual openings. Mostly it's relatively minor. Mostly it's making sure I'm in shape. I'll check and see if there's anything really tricky they might do or anything they're really fond of. For the match itself, though, because the way Tournament to King worked is there was a 9-round Swiss, and then the top 2 players in that Swiss. So we played a best of 3 match. And for that, I won the Swiss, but I lost our individual game against Melkor, who was the other finalist. And he and I both play a lot of the same openings. We've both been coached by the same teaching professional, like Shoikai Thrida and Ishikawa Sensei. And I think his understanding of them is very, very good. So this is not ideal for me, because that was a particular situation where I'm playing someone who I think I'm playing right into their comfort zone. And that's actually why I was picking up Murata system. It was something I wanted to do in general, but that was a very strong, very specific incentive, was to have it ready for that match.
Fascinating.
Yeah, wow. So that was a big bit of preparation. And I think in general, it's, again, for situations like this, it's good both to have like some critical lines and then something like that that's just a comfort zone that you can always fall back to. Because Murata system, again, very, very rare. Like, I think if you play it regularly, you're going to have more Murata system games than all of your opponents, unless they also play Murata system. And so just having that as an option feels very good. And again, especially for that match. That was it was a very good choice, I think, to play it.
Interesting. When you prepare for Murata and you decide kind of how you're going to play that game, are you using you're using the material about Murata, or are you using some like studies, maybe the Koshiro, or looking at other people's games? Are you using the engine?
So a lot of it was 2 people in the community, so Alexei and Koshiro, who both have thought a lot about Murata system, written and talked a lot. I mean, Koshiro himself plays it, has beaten me with it 3 times. He's an extremely strong player.
Yes.
So talking to them a lot about Murata system, that helped a lot. Like, look, the book some, and then there's a YouTube channel that they both watch, that they both get lines from, who plays Murata system. So those were the big ones. I don't prepare with the engine nearly as much. You can check if something's a disaster, but I do feel like, and this is especially true in shogi, it's true in chess too, but in a shogi, if the engine eval goes up by half a point, that's, I would say basically like you can play some sideline move that changes it by half a point. Like even, I mean, some of the mainline professionals like Furibisha goes like minus 1.5.
Yeah.
And that's something professionals still do. So I think as long as you're not doing something disastrously bad, and you should check, right, if you're doing a blunder. As long as you're not doing that, though, I think the practical knowledge is really the key. Like talking to people who have seen these things before, who have experience and know what might go wrong.
Fascinating. So just to be clear, you're using it just not a lot for this type of work in terms of like the amount that's lowest probably on your list of.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like say for a while with Murata system, just saw a few games like pros played, checked a few ideas. And I mean, if I have ideas, if I see the position, I'll just again check and see if something is very wrong. But I don't try to optimize too carefully, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't care if it says 0.4 or 0 or minus 0.4.
Huh. So when you're playing this, so especially like with an opening that you have not played a lot, you get the ideas. How do you how do you not get trapped by unknowns? Or when I with stepping back a bit just for me, not that I'm at a good level, but when I was playing Nakabisha, when I started, I was playing Nakabisha, and I was trying to basically look to see like pro games or games on Shogi DB2, and that's where I learned of Satomi, the all-time ladies great player, just because I saw the same kanji repeated in all these kifus, and it's like, who is this person? Oh, it's the best ladies player who's ever lived. And so I'd study her games, but her opponents don't. Maybe this isn't a problem for Melkor because he's going to play the right opening moves. But like, my opponents don't play this narrow band of things that the pros would play in response to her. So I'm kind of like, from first principles, trying to build lines to try to deal with this stuff. Like, how do you avoid getting trapped or getting caught in some of these openings that you're not experienced with?
So one thing I will say is, to a certain extent, that's just inevitable. Like people will do like weird things against the opening, things that aren't objectively sound but might be tricky. Like maybe it's something they know, or maybe it's just something random they thought up because they don't know the opening. So to a certain extent, I think it's inevitable you just take some losses when you have a new opening because there's going to be new tricks. They're going to do some weird things, and the best way to get better against them, I think, is to see them. And I mean, if you know someone else who is a seasoned player of that opening, they can kind of tell you, these are the trickiest things I dealt with, right? These are the things I lost to. And that makes it a much faster and significantly less painful process. But to a certain extent, that's just going to happen some. Like when I was trying it out on Shogi Wars, I was getting difficult positions. I was just played a bunch of fast games with it. And made some mistakes. I don't think there's any way completely around that.
Okay. Wow. This is fantastic. Are there any other openings that you're eyeing sort of picking up, or like is that something you enjoy doing a lot? Like going through different openings, trying different things, maybe being less of a predictable player or something like that. Is that something that you would focus on, or are you happy with what you've been doing?
So what I have, like kind of the mainline Ibisha and then Murata system, I would say, I mean, that's plenty. That's enough for a lifetime of study.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll try other things for fun. Like I played a few Nakabisha games because it's fun. These are all in my style. It's not something I want to do again and again continuously. I wanted one thing like that because Murata system, again, much less theoretical knowledge in general. For your average opponents can have like 1% of the knowledge they will in mainline Ibisha. There's a lot of ways you can just like play it slightly differently. Like in particular, for the third game of the TTK match, I had this nice gambit idea that Koshiro showed me that I ended up playing. And again, very, very fresh territory, very interesting position. And there's just a lot of other slightly different things like that you can do and try out. So that's, as far as, I guess, changing things up a bit, being able to just do it within that opening. And again, you can do that within mainline Ibisha as well. I would say in general though, as far as picking up new things, I think more it's going to be strengthening this and then strengthening things like Millennium that I already have.
Okay.
Like Anaguma is something I don't really play. I've played it in a few games, but like that, for example, I know was I don't know, an enormous amount of work to really understand because there's so many dangerous things you might have to deal with. So that, for example, that's not on the radar in the near future, maybe the distant future.
Cool. Oh man. Um, yeah. So what I'm taking away from this is for 2026, I'm gonna have my Oniguma stuff because you're pushing the Oniguma off as if you're not gonna have it. You're gonna come out in 2026 with the Oniguma, but I'll be ready. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. It was the. Have you gone through? I'm still amazed that you had the Ishikawa approached, the anti-Urushinori, the countermeasure to Urushinori. You had that just like locked in. The first time you used it against me, it just felt like locked in. Were you just going through these things, or had you been playing people online, or that would motivate that, or are you at the point? And this is kind of what I'm getting at. As a grandmaster, do you have to just see these things so much less to have it absorbed? I'm not doing a great job of asking the question, but for me, if I know someone's going to play, let's just say Migi Shiken, something like that, if I read about a countermeasure or I'll do it, there's a good chance, until I've had a lot of experience with it, that I'm going to mess it up a lot, as we kind of just talked about before. But is this just something you watch this Ishikawa video and you kind of absorb the ideas and are able to put it into practice?
So one thing I will say that I do, especially having a relatively weak understanding of these openings, is I will actually spend a lot of time. Like I am down on time significantly in a lot of my games, like including today's WSL game.
Yeah, I have noticed that in your games.
Yeah, so I will think very carefully, and part of it is, again, I'm just trying to learn by coming up with ideas. Like I'll look at various attacking ideas and just try to make them work. There was actually one move from today's game that's a great example, because I was actually pretty nervous about my position, more than I should have been, as it turns out. And I spent about 9 minutes basically trying to find something like concrete to create problems for my opponent. There were several sacrifices, several attacking ideas I saw, but again, nothing I could make work. So in the end, I just played some slower moves and kind of put off the endgame battle or the sharpened battle until a little later. So that's one thing I do, I would say, more than basically all my opponents. Again, I'm down on time. Almost every game.
Okay. You mentioned the word concrete. How is that balance of looking for concrete when you're selecting a move or candidate moves, that balance between selecting something that you have a concrete answer for or versus sort of, I don't want to say speculative, but a plan for? How do you try to keep that balance of not going overboard and spending all your time looking for concrete moves versus looking for, I don't know, shape or I don't know what you'd call it in chess. And is this similar to chess, like in some way? Like, yeah.
Yeah, so I think there is that balance of whether to like follow what would be maybe the default strategic plan for the position you have versus how much time you spend looking at other things. It's something I think nobody does perfectly. This is kind of an open question that every player will have a different answer to. A lot of it is you just do it for a long time, and that gives you an idea of how much you should do it, or you get an intuition for how likely is that there is something in this position. So I think that particular 9-minute move, I spent too much time on, and I did it because I underestimated my position some and really wanted to find something to sharpen the play. But yeah, for example, another just concrete one is the game 3 of Trinity King, the deciding game. There's a general strategic setup, in the line we were playing that I can go for, just a particular way to arrange my generals. But I saw this idea for a very quick early pawn push in the opening that looked promising to me. I thought about it for some time and I liked it. So I just went for that and took the game in a completely different direction than what you might say is the default. And that is something I would say I personally like to do, I think, much more than the average person. And again, I think that's also just great for learning because you see so many more positions. And if it's good or bad, you figure out why. And then too, right, someone else is likely to do similar things against you. So then you know how to handle that.
So you make that kind of move without necessarily having the concrete variation that this is going to lead to or variations. It's strategic more than concrete.
It's some of both. It is in the sense that like this is a pretty complicated open-ended move. Like I've definitely read out some variations, but it's way too complicated to just read everything that's going to happen. I mean, if it's a tactic and you read it out and it just works, then great. But these situations I'm talking about are, like you said, more strategic in the sense that you don't really know all the ramifications, and you can't in the time of a single game.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if I believe in it and I've put in the effort, then I will stand by that. And if my opponent finds something I don't, then they deserve to win.
Yeah. Wow. How many moves, could you estimate how many moves you think ahead in general sort of middle game shogi situations? Like, are you actively thinking ahead many moves or thinking about plans?
Some of both. I mean, when I talked about the sharpening lines, like let's see. Yeah, like maybe you talk about like a 13 move line there, or even, let's see, like I think one of the lines I was thinking about was 15 moves in total, or 8 moves in chess terms. But then a lot of the time is just spent thinking about plans. Like I'm going for this idea, my opponent's going for this idea.
Okay.
So again, it's a balance. I would say those are the two ways you want to approach the position.
Fascinating. Okay. Wow. Well, we are past an hour, and I don't want to take all your day. This is absolutely an honor for me. And is there anything that you wanted to talk about? I'm here all day, so my time is worthless. Is there anything?
I've got another hour, so
okay.
I'm happy to run over some if you've got more.
Is there something that you had wanted to talk about or would be interested? I think that's more important rather than just me.
Gotcha. Yeah, let's see. As far as, I guess one thing I'll ask you about, as far as shogi terms, are there any lesser known resources or any books you've really liked? Anything you've gotten translated in Japanese that maybe is lesser known that I wouldn't have heard of?
So being lower than you, being significantly lower level, I think the utility of these books might already have you've already exceeded the utility of these books. I have Tsume books, of course, in Japanese, and then the English language books, which you already have. But there are 5. What would the middle game-ish kind of next move books that I have been really enjoying. There's one by, I think there's a Watanabe. There's Habu is on the cover. I can get the list. It's 5 books, and these were mostly recommended by some people on the stream, including Koshiro, who we've mentioned. And I think, though, that they're probably under your level. So it's what the kind of material that I would love to see in English of essentially like what's next. Okay, so I'm a little familiar with my opening. I know basic tactics. I know, I'm working on my end game, but like, here's a position. Pawns are, kind of facing off. What are the ideas? And I find that these have been really helpful for me. And I think all 5 of them are sort of that style. Some of them are more Tsuji, tactics heavy than others. But those are the things that I, as a player, struggle so much with, where there's just, I see pawns, I see the possibility of edge attacks, but nothing in my brain is calling out, this pawn versus that pawn versus shuffling a silver. I can get that list, but I do think they'd be lower than your level.
Gotcha. I have heard though that, and this is something I haven't done any of, like the next move problems like that. More open-ended middle game problems are hard to find. Just like how do you
Yeah,
approach this particular position?
yeah, yeah, definitely. Um,
Yeah, I mean, the
but
Edge Attacks book is quite good in the context of that specifically. And that, I mean, reading that definitely, I got some very nice wins, specifically thanks to the ideas I got from that book. Yeah, more open-ended ones. I mean, there's one to go for Shikake, right? One to just start a big pawn sacrifice and huge attack. But even just, I mean, just enormous variety of more, I'd say, slower paced middle games, or just even some slightly unfamiliar middle games. That would be, yeah, that's something I would
yeah,
enjoy finding some books for.
yeah, I've thought of trying to put together some of these positions of my own and just throwing them into a study or something because um like tomorrow, so this Sunday game, I've said this before that my regular opponent and I, we've been playing the same sort of, it's the same battle for a year now, and before that it was the same battle for the year prior to it. But we see a lot of similar positions, and I'm working at these, but it's still you would think that after hundreds of games of playing the same sorts of positions, I would feel more comfortable with it. But if anything, I almost feel sometimes less comfortable as time goes on. It's very strange, and I don't have reasoning behind it. But I don't know. I don't know if this is where if there was a coach, they'd be like, oh, this is the theme you're missing in all these games, where they would look at, they'd have my history of games, they'd be able to find it, whereas I'm not, because I just, I have my brain, and I'm trying to think through these things, and I've got the engine, which is recommending, there are a bunch of good moves,
Right,
and
and
but not with
it's very
plans.
limited in terms of like what can you reasonably find? Like what's unique to the big thing with the engine is what's unique to this individual position versus what's a good general plan, and because you have to be able to pick those apart, and that's
Yep.
very hard to do unless you've seen them before, unless you already know the ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can think. I mean, when my thought in that position would be like number one most helpful thing would be like a coach who's very, or even just a strong player who's very familiar, very practiced in Urashino, and just ask them like what they would think about in the position, or ask them to review your thought process. That's Yeah, that would help a lot. The other thing would be, again, just a YouTuber or anyone who just plays Urashino and then says, okay, in this position, I'm thinking about this, this, and this, or I played that, or maybe they do a little post game review.
Yeah.
Like Shogi Ramen TV, I know does that with a variety of openings. I imagine he has a few Urashino ones.
Yeah, I think he does. Yeah.
And just again, what do they think about, or what's the standout feature in this position?
And this goes back also to that translation of some of these videos, because there is a channel that has, hundreds or thousands of these. The channel that I've learned the opening most from, it was something that I would watch every single day. He'd be releasing videos every day. And so I have this glut of experience of watching higher level play. And I think it's helped me tremendously, but I don't hear his words really. It's like
Gotcha.
I'm learning by seeing it, just kind of absorbing it, not by having oh, here's the plan you're going for. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Speaking of, and I apologize for asking potentially a dumb question here, but speaking of translations, it popped in my head. Have you been watching Miss King? Do you have any interest in watching that Netflix series?
I heard about it. I haven't. I haven't looked into it, to be honest.
Okay.
I did hear it was a thing. I just haven't been watching a lot of shows in general. I don't watch that much Netflix, but yeah, I will filter it in mind.
Nice.
So I take it. I'm guessing you've been watching it.
I have. I have been watching it. I'm liking it. It like any show, it's not perfect, but I've been enjoying it. And just seeing Shogi at all is fun. And I'm hoping that more people come to shogi from it. I don't know if that's a reality, but who knows?
I mean, being on Netflix certainly isn't going to hurt.
Yeah, yeah. Did you see Queen's Gambit? Were you at all interested in that stuff? Like, I
Yeah, I
imagine.
watched it.
Okay, you did. Yeah.
Yeah, there was. I mean, so they actually did put proper effort into the chess, which is far from a guarantee. And there's actually a really neat in the state championship she plays in one of the early episodes. There was a really neat like rook and knight versus rook and pawn tactic, for example, that was very accurate, and again would have been a very nice position to get in a real game.
Oh, cool. Yeah, these types of shows must hit a grandmaster differently than a potzer like me. But yeah, oh, that's cool. Yeah. So hopefully, once Miss King is bingeable, maybe we'll get more people watching it, and it'd be more interesting. If you do have time. Yeah. Anything else that?
Yeah, let's see. I think we did cover all the big shogi topics. Any others? Yeah, I think covered the list pretty well.
Yeah. I think I could probably grind you down with some tournament questions. I don't know if I want to. I'll spare you so we could have something else to talk for next time. But I do want to ask because we talked about preparation for the 2025 tournament. Did you have a preparation approach, and did your preparation actually turn out to be useful? Is really what I'm asking.
Gotcha. And this is for the U.S. Championship?
For that particular tournament. You being your first tournament, I'm curious how and if you prepared for it, and if that was a useful preparation.
Gotcha. So preparing for it specifically, I mean, because I was doing, again, general purpose things just the months before.
Yeah.
Ahead of it specifically, again, doing, I think, a lot of just really tough tactics. Like, you want that training to be tougher than the actual tournament, just so the tournament feels comfortable. That definitely felt useful.
That's the second time.
Tournament specifically, because I don't know exactly what specific openings are going to come up. I don't know who I'm going to play. Like, there's a lot of general shogi skill. One thing I didn't do that I wish I had done, this was a big lesson, is I was doing all my training online. And so over the board is a very different view. And this is funny because this is actually something that I hear about from chess players all the time, including a lot of my students. Like, some of them became big chess players during lockdown, or a lot of them are kids who just play online in general. And so they struggle to look deeply at a physical board. And that's just something I have to get them getting reps on. And so actually in the last game, I made it just an oversight that I think I basically never would have made in an online game. So that's something I wish I had just done, set up positions on the physical board.
Wow.
I have a physical shogi board at home that I look at things on.
Wow. I really would have thought that was the least of your problems. Wow. Because that totally happened to me. That totally happened to me in the past. It was I remember it like it was yesterday. I was at Stanford. We were meeting for the Shogi Club. For a Shogi Club, we were meeting at Stanford, and at the table, the Stanford Chess Club came over and they started playing sort of next to us. Carissa Yip, who I think just won her third or fourth in a row, like she was there, and I'm just like, there's these great chess players. And so we played shogi, and then someone who also plays chess is like, you want to play chess? Like, yeah. I play online, a little bit, and we played, and it was like the board, it was the regulation kind of vinyl board. The board felt so big that versus where I'm looking online, I sort of visualize the whole board. But I was almost like having to move my head, and I got hit by a bishop diagonal. I felt like a complete fool, but a sniper bishop hit me from the long diagonal because it was so far away. It felt like I had to step back to take the board in. Gotcha. So yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. That's fascinating. Yeah. Um, do you at all, or did you prepare? Another dumb question, but did you practice snapping or any sort of piece movements?
Sure. I've played enough on. I mean, in general, I've played enough physical games. I guess I feel comfortable with the motion. I haven't practiced it specifically,
Okay.
but yeah, I
Okay.
could say I practiced it at the Silicon Valley Shogi Club.
Okay. Yeah. This was a conversation from 2024 that some of us were having, like before that tournament began. Like, have you been practicing? Because it's totally different. Yeah. Oh, that's incredible. Thank you. Thank you. So I get, on that note, if people want to contact you, where should they, or should they?
Yeah, I mean, in general, I'm always happy to answer shogi questions. See, that's. I mean, I'm on the Shogi Harbor Discord. That
Okay.
might work. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, my email's just my name. If there's people talking about shogi things,
Okay.
Stevenzirk at Gmail.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Like, honestly, I feel like I'm a broken record sometimes, but like it is a true honor to be doing this. And I'm so glad you offered. And I wish you the best in your shogi. I miss having you to play against. Even though those games were all, the games were complete embarrassments for me. This is something we didn't talk about, but I have a set of people who I'm just so intimidated by when I'm playing that I just blunder pieces. I just blunder my pieces away. I try. I'm trying so hard to give a good game, but I miss having you there, and I wish you the best in shogi and in everything. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, and yeah, thank you everyone for listening. Please do remember to like and subscribe, and enjoy your shogi. Hope you enjoyed this. I'm sure you did, but take care. Thanks. Bye.